Hello everyone, this is Raptor coming back at you yet again, and today I'm going to be doing a Raptor rant, which I haven't done in a while. So I know there's a lot of talk going on about the Galactic Star Cruiser for Star Wars provided by Disney, and I guess a lot of people who are Universal fans are probably wondering, like, when's Universal is gonna make a hotel or a thematic interactive hotel, and which theme would they go? And I think the obvious theme they would go with is, of course, Wizarding World. Why do I think a Wizarding World hotel would not really work, especially one themed to Hogwarts? Now, I'm not saying the idea is bad. I think it's a very awesome idea. I would totally be down to spending a few nights at a Hogwarts castle themed hotel. However, there's a lot of real life stuff that's gonna keep it from meeting the expectations that a lot of us Wizarding World fans want out of it. And I would say there's many reasons why it can happen, but it's not gonna be what we expect. It is just not. And so I'm just gonna go into the reasons why it can work, but not really. So the first reason, it has to do with ADA compliance. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, ADA compliance means every building needs to be accommodating to the handicap, meaning it needs to be designed for people on wheels. Hogwarts, in every visual representation of it, be it from the movies or the video games, there's no ramps. There's no ramps anywhere in the school. In the Wizarding World lore, any student that's handicapped, like in Hogwarts Mystery, can't remember his name right now, but there was a student in wheelchairs, and it's not seen as a problem because wizard kids can simply, just apparate themselves to any location. So stairs and ladders, those aren't an issue. They just teleport themselves wherever they feel like it. So wheelchairs are not a hindrance in the Wizarding World. However, we do not exist in a Wizarding World. We exist in reality, where gravity is very much a very binding thing. So for a Hogwarts Castle Hotel to be built, it's going to have a lot of ramps. And that's kind of going to break the immersion a bit, especially when it comes to the four towers for each of the houses. They're towers. They have spiral stairs that takes the students up to their dorm rooms. They don't have elevators. I mean, I'm sure Universal can figure out a way to put elevators that blend in with the castle and stuff, but then it's just gonna really mess with how the castle is designed in the movies and video games. So that already by itself is really gonna change the whole structure of the castle in a way that it's gonna move stuff around that we're probably not gonna like too much, but it's kind of necessary given ADA compliance. The second issue is rooms. How many rooms does the Hogwarts castle has for their students, like the dorm rooms? I mean, we know from the books that there's a lot of classrooms, but that doesn't really talk about the rooming capacity for its students. I think there's been a lot of discussion about that with J.K. Rowling, the author, maybe 400 to 600 students, because it breaks down to like 40 students per year, 7 years, all that. I'm not good at math. But anyways, there's some other maths that's been done that indicates that the castle capacity for dorms is actually a lot smaller, like maybe about 280 dorm rooms. So that's gonna make it so the hotel is gonna book up really quickly. Now, I mean, they could accommodate that by making an Ilvermorny school. Like, we could finally see like a real life school for the Ilvermorny American wizards and witches, so they can have the option of going to Hogwarts or Ilvermorny. I myself would be very interested in going to Ilvermorny because that's like a part of the world building that I like to see Wizarding World expanded upon more rather than just going back to Hogwarts. I mean, I love Hogwarts, but I also want to see what the other wizarding schools are like. So that would be another way to like expand capacity for fans. Now, the other issue is how is the interactive experience going to be structured? If we're going to make it a whole experience, it's got to be at least a week long. So you would do the whole sorting hat ceremony like you would do in the story and the world of Wizarding World. I think they have like a school schedule for each year. So maybe it's if your first time at the hotel, you'd be a first year, or you've been visiting again, it'd be a second year. Of course, that's not going to work if you're opening the hotel for the first time because that's going to be weird. Everyone's in the first year and there's no like second onward to 7 years. So yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe for first visits, a guest can decide if they want to go into like the other year so they can experience the other classrooms. Or maybe they could just book it. So it's like, this is the capacity for first year, second year, third year. So if first years get booked up, then you got to go into the second year. And then it makes you want to revisit it so you can experience all the other years and see all the other classes too. So there's that. And however they're going to price that is really going to determine how many people are going to be interested. I'm sure the fan base for Harry Potter is going to be very interested regardless of what price point Universal sets. But at the very least, in terms of the duration, it's got to be at least a week. And I don't know how they're going to. I mean, they could structure it like a typical school curriculum, but then there's also the issue of, okay, how are we going to have the students go from class to class? And everyone's going to be whipping out their smartphones, so it's kind of going to mess up the experience a little. You're trying to like take in the atmosphere and someone just doing like video recordings on their phones, and it's like, come on, dude, we're in a wizarding school. Get into the spirit of it. Why don't you just put your phone away? I mean, yeah, everyone wants to do like selfie Instagram, but the capacity is really going to determine how your experience is going to be. I feel like keeping it intimate, it's probably going to be better, but at the same time, it's like that means a lot of people are going to have to wait longer until there's like bookings that open up for that. Which version of Hogwarts we're going to be getting with the hotel? Now, with the book version of Hogwarts, obviously there's a lot more characters, there's a lot more classes that we get shown in the books compared to the movies. The movies really go into like a small amount of classes that each student can go into, but the book goes into like more different classes. And I feel like doing the book version of Hogwarts is gonna be more worth the cost, because then you have people wanting to revisit the hotel because they want to experience all these different classrooms. If we just limit it to like all the classes we see in the movies, I mean, I feel like that's going to be less replay value compared to basing it on the book version of Hogwarts. Plus, I would love to see Peeves. I mean, Peeves was a really awesome part of the books, and I think that would really elevate a Hogwarts hotel experience, having this ghostly phantom going around doing shenanigans and stuff. And of course, we can't leave out Moaning Myrtle in the bathroom. I think it was the boys' room for Slytherin. How are the bathrooms gonna work? I mean, surely there's gonna be like a decent. You would assume like in a school of Hogwarts there would be a decent amount of bathrooms. But I mean, of course, everyone's gonna want to go to the prefect bathroom because that's like the most famous. The prefect bathroom and the bathroom that goes into the Chamber of Secrets. So there's that exploration aspect, and people are gonna crowd the crap out of that. So how are you gonna structure it so you're giving a more intimate experience, similar to what's in the movie and the books, but at the same time, you want to get as many people going through this experience, so more people will be satisfied with their trip and stuff. So that's another issue. I don't know if they can do it. Plus, again, the whole ADA compliance. How are you gonna get a handicapped person into the Chamber of Secrets? Last I checked, there wasn't really like stairs or an elevator. Didn't they go down a slide? I mean, it could kind of work, but then how are they going to get through the rest of the chamber without their wheelchair? So yeah, they're going to have to restructure that to accommodate handicapped people. And I don't know how that's going to work without taking people too far out of the experience, saying like, this wasn't part of the book, but it's like, is it really like immersive breaking enough to take me out of the experience? And then the whole, how are you going to get a whole lake around the castle, which goes into my next point. Location. Where are you going to locate this thing? I mean, obviously it's going to be close to the theme parks, but then you got the issue of, well, how are you going to work with the continuity of the hotel when in the theme park you got Harry Potter and Forbidden Journey, which takes you into like a section of Hogwarts. So it's like, are there gonna be two herbology classrooms, one which is the queue to the ride and the other is the actual like classroom. You're basically gonna have like two different Hogwarts experiences where you have one at theme park and one in the hotel. I guess it could work with like, oh, you're got a time turner and the theme park version of Hogwarts is a different. I don't know how it's gonna work. Because I know everyone's gonna want to, do the whole experience where you're on the boat, sailing across the lake up to Hogwarts Castle, and of course they're gonna expect that giant squid in the lake. Because if you're in the Slytherin house, like I am, Slytherin pride, you're gonna expect like your room is gonna be down below in the dungeons, and there should be a giant squid like swimming by like the windows or glasses and stuff down there. So yeah, those are my reasons why I don't think, as much as a Hogwarts Castle hotel would be really awesome, I don't think it's going to be as we expect. But I'm not saying that it's impossible for Universal to make it work, but it's not going to be exactly as we envision it in the books and the movies. So I think that's something to keep in mind. If they do go through with that idea, great. If they can work out all the issues that I've listed, fantastic. I look forward to such an experience. Just as long as they don't shove us into a random truck and say, oh, we're on the Hogwarts Express, when there's already a Hogwarts Express in Florida. So that kind of ruins that experience too. But hey, again, if they can get creative with it and make it work, fantastic. If they can make an Ilvermorny version of the hotel with its own classes and stuff, given that we haven't really gotten a lot of information about that wizarding school, I mean, they can go really ham with that and it could still work. It won't be the same as staying at a Hogwarts hotel, but I think an Ilvermorny hotel would still be just as good. And I guess they could probably, I don't know, they could probably make it much more ADA compliant, given, again, we don't have any visual representation of Ilvermorny, so they could really go wherever they want to, imagination wise, and make it work. So, yeah, that's my Raptor rant for now. I wish the best of luck to whatever Universal is planning. I'm looking forward to Epic Universal. That's gonna be a pretty awesome park. And I look forward to the opening of Nintendo. I can't wait to try it out, see how. I mean, it looks fantastic in Japan, so I can only imagine how great it's gonna look here in the States. So until next time, this is Zero Raptor signing off. Laters.